Welcome to Subramani. I don't blame you if you're bored with the kind of stuff we in the BFSI have been throwing at you, right? So we said there is mutual fund, then we said there is debt fund, equity fund, hybrid fund, asset allocation fund, a foreign fund. So we confuse you there. Then in investing, we said there is value, there is growth, and then we said, oh, we can capture all the value because of the growth, right? So one of the important ones which today is got little popularity is this dividend growth investing, which means you use the dividends to grow your portfolio, and that is being touted as one of the best ways or one of the finest ways to have your retirement. Honest to God, in 1979, 1980, when I started small time dabbling with my father's money, I had not heard any of these words. Of course, these words were there. These words are not, these words are definitely more than 40 years old, but the mutual funds were not there. So, but equity investing, and there's another mistake which people think, that you start equity investing because you want to make money. Of course, you want to make money somewhere at the back of your mind, but it is more because equity investing is very intriguing. It's like chess. Once you start playing, then you feel that you want to read everything that is possible, or like golf, right? So maximum number of books are written on golf and chess and on sales techniques, because there is no one single technique which works. What works for you with one client may not work with another client. So it's very intriguing. So is investing. So value investing, yes, but then dividend based value investing means all the dividends are replowed into it. Then there are a lot of theories. Should you just keep on doing it blindly? Should you have some logic on how you are doing and things like that? So I will tell you how I became a value investor. Largely when you are value oriented in life, you also do value investing, and I have taught value investing to my daughter by teaching her a value life. All of us can do this, right? Pick up all the toys that your child has, even assuming the child is only say 5th standard, 6th standard, and show them the toys which they have used. So then they will understand Buffett's great quote of saying, what you pay is price, what you get is value. You have paid a price for every toy that your son or daughter has played with, right? She or he has enjoyed a lot, which means they have derived value out of it, right? Simple as that. So you start like that and teach them what is value investing. Now, dividend growth investing is, what all do you want to look at in dividend growth investing? I mean, there are many what would be my journey in dividend growth investing? I don't know, because largely I used to look at dividend yield, because if there's no dividend yield, what are you getting? Because you're not trying to control the company. Buying 500 shares of Apollo Hospital, you're not going to change the board, you're not going to change the auditor, you're not going to change anything, right? And I never liked the ethics and morals of that group. I'm talking of 1980s or 90s, whenever the company made its debut. It was always quoting below 10, but the dividend yield was good, so I bought it, right? So let us go and look at some of the sayings of some of the big people on dividend growth investing. So some of the notes that I've made are here. So let me what happens also when you invest through a mutual fund. Buying a mutual fund is a problem like buying those old LP records, right? So today, when you buy, why would you buy an LP record today? Because you like, maybe it has about 12 songs, out of which 3-4 you loved, 3-4 you could tolerate, and another 3-4 you wouldn't want to hear them again, right? But you bought the whole package because that is how you were given. But today you can go to iTunes and buy each song, right? So each song may cost you $10, $9. So create your own playlist. This is possible, right? You can get it without ads. You can do all those kind of things. So why would I not do that instead of going to a mutual fund and saying, oh, this fund manager is good, his quant conditions are good, but he doesn't buy PSU. I want some PSU also. Or you say, okay, this is a quant fund, I like these rules, so I will invest money and I will buy another fund which buys all the PSUs, right? I can do any of these things. But one of the methods is, of course, value investing. So first of all, to get rid of the ready-made shirt kind of a thing. I'm not very tall, at least I'm short. and so a shirt which I buy for my collar size and my paunch size is too long for my hand, so I need some alteration, or I learn to live with it. So why should I live with a tailor-made portfolio when I can why should I live with a ready-made portfolio when I can tailor make it myself? So that is the first thing, the control that you have over it, right? Long ago, when we used to do photography, we used to have our own dark room to develop the negatives and prints, because you had control over it, not because you were saving money, right? So of course saving money was one thing. So similarly, when you go through a mutual fund route and you think you can pick stocks, why not? Because if you start at the age of 25 till the age of 60, you need to pick up 25-30 stocks, one a year. That's not so difficult, right? So you have to be interested in that. You should not just buy it because somebody else is buying it. Conviction cannot be outsourced, right? Like people come and ask me, should I keep the share, should I buy the share? Look, you didn't ask me before you bought it. No, why are you asking me whether to keep it or sell it? I have no clue, right? So saving of fees is not something which I would bother about, simply because I think you anyway need to have a good intermediary who will soon become your friend and guide and a sounding board. So cost wise, I don't think it is too much of a saving, but yes, the advantage is you get the dividends, whereas in the mutual fund you don't get the dividends. The advantage is the dividends come to you, you have to reinvest it. The disadvantage is the dividends come to you, you have to pay tax. So earlier tax was being paid by the company, so there was a flat rate. Whether it was a mutual fund or you were getting the same amount of dividend in percentage terms. Today obviously you will pay a higher tax than a fund. A mutual fund doesn't pay tax, so it saves money there, and the amount will keep accumulating. So if you are 35 years of age and you start accumulating and you withdraw at the age of 60, which means 25 years of deferral of tax you have done. However, if your income from dividends is very low and your tax liability is at 20%, then it may not matter too much. But if you are at the 43% slab, direct equity can be very hurtful going forward, right? That is one. That is definitely one thing, but the choice is yours. So again, going back to Buffett said about price and value, it gives you a chance to challenge yourself, saying, am I buying the best stock at this time and putting this amount of money? Am I getting carried away by the number of videos that I am seeing? Look at the number of videos that are going around saying why ITC is a great buy. If ITC is really such a great buy, who the hell is selling? I don't know. Who is buying the put options? I don't know, right? So yes, you will Buffett is a very great example of dividend based investing. Almost all his companies pay a huge amount of dividend, and dividend is a very important source of income for Berkshire Hathaway, and he does not pay dividends, right? So he does not, so he knows the importance of dividend, getting dividends. He knows the importance of not paying dividends. So look at that conflict, or look at that contradiction. I will invest only in companies which pay very good dividends. However, I will not pay dividends. If you want money, go and sell the share. Fair enough. I am not saying right, wrong, but yeah, that is the value investing guru saying, I will pay a nice price. I don't mind paying a nice price for a wonderful company, but I will not pay a wonderful price for an ordinary company. So he refuses to pay very high prices. But remember, he bought Apple when it was a high price, but now he's made tons of money. So there will always be some conflicts of saying, oh, I found. So where did Mr. Buffett find the value in Apple? He found the value in the growth, right? So sometimes you play, it's a play on words, but yes. So again, what happens with the dividends is you get small amounts of money, small trickle. So you buy 100 shares, 200 shares, 300 shares, and you get 40 rupees, 32 rupees, 82 rupees as dividends. Then slowly when you grow up, you realize that, oh, I don't need to invest in 120 companies, I need to cut down. And then you start your pruning, and then you come down to 30, 40 shares, which start giving you 5,000, 10,000 kind of dividend. So 5,000 into 40 is, you get 2 lakhs as dividend income, which gets reinvested. What is the advantage of, why are you reinvesting? You're reinvesting because you're young and you have got your main source of income. You're a doctor, lawyer, chartered accountant, employee in a company, whatever, but you have your salary or business income with which you live. So you don't really need, suppose you're earning about 15 lakhs a year, then you don't really need this extra 30, 40,000 of dividend which you're getting. What do you do with that? You plow it back. That is the very essence of dividend growth investing. So every time you buy or sell an equity share, you will incur brokerage, you will incur capital. So if you are very careful about what you are buying, then the transaction cost and the brokerage cost and all that goes down. Of course, there will be holding cost in your demat account, and for heaven's sake, please hold it in a good bank. I would recommend a HDFC bank or an ICICI bank or a stockholding corporation, good organizations with good risk control, not dominated by one person who is also a broker. So be careful about such organizations. People lose money. Sorry, I digressed. But yes, you will have your two-way quote prices, you will have brokerage, you have GST and all that. So try reducing the number of transactions that you do tremendously. When you own, like what Buffett says, when you own small portions of very big and successful business, there's no need to look at the price on a daily basis. The example I give is, if you bought a house for an X amount and you're living there, and the broker calls you up 3 times a day saying, sir, this is the price, this is the price, this is the price, you're going to say, go take a walk, I'm going to be here for another 10, 15, 20 years, right? After that, I might think of selling the house and get in touch with me then. However, Mr. Market keeps throwing prices at you on a daily basis, and you think you have to react. You don't have to react, except when there is some sensational move and you say, okay, I don't think this share is worth so much, then you need to sell. But largely, like Buffett says, you buy it forever. Right, so you buy it forever, and there is no reason for you to sell. Don't sell. Company is paying dividend. The story is being played out exactly the way you thought it will be played out. Just stick to it. There is enough evidence in the US about dividend growth investing. Unfortunately, in India, there is no attempt even made to study. We don't have publicly funded company bodies which are willing to do all these studies. The Institute of Chartered Accountants or Institute of Company Secretaries, or somebody of that size, if they were to undertake a study, they could easily get the data. All the data is available to see how much the dividend paying companies have grown versus the non-dividend paying companies. At least in Indian conditions, the quality of the promoter is known only by when he pays dividends. Otherwise, you don't believe the EPS that he shows, because we ask them a simple question, acha kitna dikhaya? We don't know kitna bana, we just ask him kitna dikhaya, right? So we are worried about those things, so we need more evidence. But in US there is enough evidence. I would rather go with the US evidence and say dividend paying companies are better than non-dividend paying companies, other conditions remaining same. It's fairly obvious. I've done a video on why companies pay dividends and why companies do not pay dividends, but I'm assuming that if it's a good company, mature company, let's say like an HDFC Limited or even an HDFC Bank, which is today more than 20 years old, they should be paying dividends. Smaller companies like an Indigo, I don't want Indigo to pay any dividend. I want them to use the money to repay the loans and get less debt heavy. So each company can have a different view. Some companies can have a very high payout. I think ITC and all have a very high payout. Now obviously Reliance has a lesser payout ratio, because they need to use the money. But if you are a Colgate, you are a P&G, you don't really have too much need for money. Your growth is happening without all that additional money, whereas a Bharti might need all the money to grow. Vodafone Idea would require all the money that is there for their future growth. So some of those companies won't be able to pay a very high dividend. Finance companies will not be able to pay a very high dividend because they will want to plow back the money. However, if they don't pay dividend, then the shareholder will walk away, so they need to keep him happy. So it's always a small conflict which has to be handled. So therefore, companies choose how much dividend to pay and how much dividend not to pay. Then there are companies which are fantastic long-term dividend track record. So you buy those companies, stick to it. You can literally go to sleep, except when there is a dividend, use that money to buy more of the same share or whatever share buying philosophy that you have. What does all this do? You keep on looking at your passive dividend income and see when can you retire. So if your annual expenses are 3 lakhs, or let's say your annual expenses are 5 lakhs and you have 2.5 lakhs of dividend, well, you're slightly far away from your retirement. But if you think that out of 5.5 lakhs, maybe out of 5 lakhs of annual expenses, so about 1 lakh is something which you're anyway going to earn by doing a lesser amount of job. You don't want a very high paying job, but you want a job which will pay you 1.5-2 lakhs per annum. So you will substitute that with the dividends. I mean, you will supplement that with the dividends, and some interest and some rent that you get, great, right? So you keep on looking at this number to see, is this number by itself adequate for me to retire? That's one important thing you do, especially if you're a dividend growth investor trying to get financially free by investing in equities. Thank you.